Groovy. Well, hello all. This is I guess you would say a mini pod, crab apple pod, you may say. Episode of the Orchard Fantasy League podcast. We felt this necessary. We were talking all day. Anyone in the league, you obviously, if you've looked at your phone at all, you've seen a lot has been going on. Tempers have been flaring. The commissioner is doing something. I don't know.
Oh, we're not getting into that yet, are we?
Oh, I'm just.
What's the commissioner
I'm
doing?
just telling them why we're having this podcast.
There's a lot. There's drama.
There's
in the
drama.
orchard. In the orchard.
So we felt it necessary to do a little mini pod here. We have a guest with us. It is my boss, our boss, Earls.
What's up?
Earls, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your fantasy experience?
Well, starting off, my nickname is Coach Earls. So you're getting the coaching aspect here, very analytical, breaking things down, breaking the film down. I get that up on the screen all day, watching a lot of tape and know what's going on. I've been playing fantasy football since 1998, so I would guess that I have a lot more experience in that realm than the people in this league of yours. Mainly I'm on here because I've been shitting.
What about a championship pedigree?
You can call me the guru. I've not won a championship, but as I've told these two clowns, that's because I play in a real league with real competitors, unlike this Orchard League. So I'm on here because I've been behind the scenes shitting on this league, this 10-man league with no PPR and quarterbacks getting 6 points.
Since I started working here, 3 years ago?
Yeah. So I'm here to just be the third party outside viewer here and give my thoughts and opinions on how wrong this league is run.
Wow. So he's kind of reminds me of Andy Reid if we would have recorded this last year before he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like just maybe a lot of regular season wins, not much to show for it, some game knowledge, but again, no championships.
Yeah, I thought he would just give some input, but now he's just
now he's saying the league is poorly.
Yeah.
See, this is what I knew we would have to do because he's going to say stuff like that. And then as a member of the league, even though we might be feeling that things are gone awry in the Orchard, but we have to also defend our turf.
I mean, half the league probably turned it off by now.
True.
Yeah.
Who runs your league? Ham?
The whole league.
The league is a democracy. So we have 2-year terms for our commissioner.
Okay. You're not joking with me?
No.
Interesting. Okay, let me write this down. 2
Wait,
year
why
term.
don't we ask? Let's not get into what ours is. So,
yeah.
You are in Hometown Heroes, which I was invited to be in a couple years ago, and then you said, "Never mind." Chris Myers was still in the league. We won't get in. We won't throw names around.
He won a championship, unfortunately.
Right. Well, okay. Well, good for him. He can say that, and you can't. But so, anyways, I was promised to be in this league, and I didn't make it in. But how's this league run? You have PPR. It's a 12-man league, right?
Yeah, so, it's evolved over the years, way back in the day when it started. So it started, my brother was in, high school. It's been back in, 2003.
Right.
Is when this league was started. They started with, crazy scoring where they had, bonus points for, rushing touchdowns beyond 50 yards or some crazy,
Was this like a pen and paper league, or was it?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So it was, the one kid would print out everything and distribute it at school. Obviously, I wasn't in high school. I was in the league back then, though. So then Charles would tell me where I was at in the standings.
Matt, you didn't win this week. I don't know what the score was, but you didn't win.
Yeah. So everyone in the team or in the league was supposed to basically check to make sure that the scores were accurate and then submit any discrepancies. And basically, the way to check was to get out the paper. Not
check
the
internet.
Stats. We didn't have smartphones. Get out the real paper and go through the box score and add up everything manually, and then submit any type of issues. So that's how it started way back in the day. Currently, we're at a 12-team, 1 point PPR, 4 points for a QB passing touchdown. I think that's the major. We went to the Fab You said you still have the old waiver wire system too?
Where it's in order, correct?
That's fucking
So
stupid.
Fab is enlighten us.
You have free agent bucks, so we have 50 free agent bucks. You can bid as little as zero. That was a rule that we implemented recently. It used to be you had to do at least $1. But then at the end of the season, that was causing some issues.
So you just bid if Mike Davis is the free agent ad of the week, everyone's bidding on him.
Yeah, I think some guy got him for like 30 plus, like blew.
So 30 out of his $50.
Yeah, blew most of his load to go out because he had.
But there's
CMC.
strategy there, not like. Well, I mean, Saquon would be a bad example, but like say Saquon goes down, he has a good backup. Just the top guy in the waiver wire gets him, no matter what.
Right. Well, that's what makes it interesting too, because then someone went out and dropped like serious coin on Deion Lewis and Devontae Freeman, and then pretty much
They split 9 carries between them.
Yeah, they've been pointless. So now
Yeah.
this person just blew. But then sometimes like Mike Davis ended up, obviously it has been a very productive pickup thus far.
Right.
But there's a lot of those, especially after weeks 1 and 2, the people who want to go and blow their money on the receiver who dropped 20 points in week 1, a John Ross from last year, and then he ends up being shit the rest of the season. So like it adds more intrigue to how that.
Is there anything that you don't like about your league?
Well, it's my brother's friends. I like the people in the Orchard League. If there's an invite that came my way, like I wouldn't say no. If we go 12,
I don't know. At this point, with that
we go 12
introduction, I don't know if they're going to be welcoming you.
I
with
mean,
open
they
arms.
should want the competition though. Like, who's been winning the league?
I mean, Beef threw out the idea if you hosted a golf outing for the league.
Okay.
That
yeah.
might be a good way in.
Yeah. See, if you have the new members have to, do something to ingratiate themselves to the Orchard fellers.
So you're going to put on a golf outing, and then Nate said he wanted it. And what would Nate do to get into the league? Show up to the golf outing?
Show up to the golf outing. That's
Grizz
further than what Avon.
Make the golf outing in Medina. If he shows up, he's in the league.
I think Grizz supplies the brews and the hot dogs at the turn. I think everyone's happy.
Dude, he can gobble a glizzy. All right, Andy, what do you got for us? He did, though. He ate that glizzy on the turn. What was
very
that?
quickly.
9:15 a.m. at Forest Hills.
Yeah. I think he only took about 3 bites.
I didn't know if he
total.
even took a bite. I just thought it was right down the hatch.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, no, that's interesting. I guess we've never even discussed not having the waiver wire. But I mean, even this week we had a small little, I don't even know if you could call it an argument, but Beef brought up that the waiver wasn't done correctly, even though it was.
I didn't like that. Sometimes like the chat gets like, even today, like I have to look away from the chat.
Yeah.
Like, and that was with the waiver wire thing. I just looked away. Was it like,
All it was is I picked up Gronkowski when I thought, and we'll get into this.
oh, because Travis Kelce.
Yeah, because there's a chance that he
Got to
wasn't-
have that contingency plan.
Right. Well, there's a chance he wasn't going to play, and then I didn't start Gronk. But by taking a chance, I started Kelce still, and then I dropped him the same day, and he went to waivers, I think is what happened.
Because I saw
After his game. And then Cheese picked up a receiver.
I saw that.
And then dropped him before the game. And then I picked him up, and Beef's like, why was that able to happen? But I mean, everything checked out.
So how do yours work? Like the waivers? Like, is it if somebody gets dropped, are they automatically on waivers for a couple days? Or are they automatically a free agent? What's the deal?
So the actual day that it hits is Thursday at noon.
So you place your claims.
So everyone places their bids, and then at Thursday at noon. Now the one you could say the critique is it goes every day from there though at noon. So it's not just free for all after that. So
it's always a waiver.
yeah. So if someone like dropped
I like
someone you wanted Thursday to pick up someone they wanted, you have to then place a bid, and it's not until Friday at noon that you'd find out if you got them, and then Saturday at noon, then Sunday at noon.
So there's no really, like ours is if I had my eye on someone, if they make it through like tonight at 3 a.m. or whatever it is, then I can just get them the next day. Like I'd have to actually go through the process of waiver again. Like there's no free for all.
No, I like that too. And like I don't know if you noticed, but Beef and I have been 1 and 2 on the waiver wire for the past, like, since week 1. So we're kind of just waiting there for the right person while everyone, it seems like, is blowing their load. And like,
well, I was number 1, and because I was the last pick,
right,
and I got Hines,
right,
because when
great pickup.
when Mac went down,
And he would have went up for a lot of fab, and
well, that's where it's like somebody, like I wouldn't have spent $30 on him, but
that's the thing too with like Beef and I wanting to be patient, waiting for that right person to pick up on waivers. We wouldn't have to wait for waivers to clear and pick up players off of free agency. We could still at least throw some money on a
look,
guy.
everybody has a chance to
Right.
get. I mean,
when you're younger, the waiver works a bit better. When everyone starts working and is busy and doing stuff, it creates a system that's a bit
that's
more
true too.
reasonable. That
Right.
the person who's just refreshing every 2 seconds can't just grab everyone once it's a free for all.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can move us on to our next topic, though, of what I was just talking about, me having to make that decision, picking up a Gronk. And what was the deal with the Chiefs Patriots? Was it just
This is Cam
was it just Cam Newton?
was positive. They pushed the game back a single day, but our issue was like they did that with Pittsburgh though too.
Yeah, they pushed
And
it
the
back till
Titans,
Monday,
they pushed it back, and then eventually they're just
everyone
like,
on
no.
their team on Tennessee. ended up.
So, yeah, we didn't know if the Patriots-Chiefs game was going to happen.
Right.
And that caused an issue because somebody that you have Travis Kelce.
Right.
Dave
had Pat Mahomes, who I was facing.
Right.
You know,
and it's like at this point, like, so if it's Sunday, and you don't know if the game's going to happen, like, how would I start? Did he actually, like, I keep saying Minshew. Is that who he actually started?
He started Goff and stuff.
Goff, that's right. So, like, yeah, you have Goff. Like, to me, it just felt like it's not fair to say, like, you can't, like, do I really risk it all? And no one knows. Like, it's not like anybody's a doctor. No one knows if this game's going to happen. No one knows if it's just Cam Newton.
So the guy who has Mahomes did not start Mahomes because they thought that.
Because what if the game gets canceled?
So did that end up because Mahomes got those cheapy little shovel pass touchdowns?
So luckily, because Julio Jones went out early in the game, if Julio would have had a couple touches and 30 more yards, I think he could have beat me.
He started Goff.
But,
right.
Well, yeah, with Mahomes, he would have beat me, but with Goff, he had no chance.
Got it. Interesting.
So
yeah.
So you guys are arguing. So the people who are arguing in favor of we don't need a contingency or like a backup emergency lineup are the people that are saying like everyone has the same risk. So like you have to make a decision, either take the risk and he doesn't play and you now don't get the points, or play a backup.
Yeah, they're just saying start at your own risk.
And so in our league, in that specific case, we did have everyone, if you had a player starting, you got to submit what your alternate lineup was, submit it to everyone so everyone could see it. And then if the game was canceled, we'd go reference that. It wasn't, so you start who you wanted to actually start. Everything worked out. We're good. We move on to the next week.
Right.
The other potential issue is with if you had multiple people on like the Steelers and all these different teams, and if you had to drop people to potentially then fill the rosters, which is what I said to Logan. Eventually, you guys are going to face.
we didn't even bring this part up in our discussion.
Eventually, the reason we did it now is because there's no going back once you guys make this decision. So now the rest of the year, what are you going to do when in 1 week there's 6 teams that go down? And someone has their entire bench, they're starting, like they can't field a roster. Do you, like in our league, there's penalties if you don't field a roster with active people. So do you guys just, like a guy just says, okay, I'm going to mail it in, and now someone gets a cheapy win, that win ends up jumping them over you in the standings now, and they have a chance to go to the playoffs, and you're saying, what the fuck, that's stupid.
Right.
Well, 8 out of the 10 people make the playoffs.
No. What the fuck? So what?
We need it. So it needs to be 12. We need a 12-man league at least.
Yeah, and then worst case you do, even in that, I think 6 is aggressive for the playoffs. In my league, it's 4.
See, I feel like 4 is too little.
Right, and I mean that's why it's tough. It's 4 people, and
Yeah, a lot of people have been arguing because the past few years, a low seed, like I was the 8th seed last year and made it to the championship. And it like the best team in the league, I think it was Ritter, who was kind of dominating throughout the year, just had a bad week. And I think knowing Ritter, he calculated it. And I'm pretty sure he even brought up that he would have won. If he faced like anybody else, he would have won the championship. But this
is what he's doing instead of taking lunch breaks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fair point, though. Everyone's always going to feel like they're getting.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been a fan of giving, as long as you can get yourself in, like give those lower seeds a chance. But
I mean, at 10 of 12, that's ridiculous. Like 6 of 12, 50% of the league, that's okay.
Right.
At 10 of 12, what's the point of the regular season then?
Well, I mean, that honestly, like that is like some of my approach is like, dude, like I'm not going to cut a guy. I just got to make sure I don't finish in the bottom two.
It does make you.
It's like all you have to do is survive.
I was even thinking after last week, it's just like Shradda's 0-3. It's like how many, and I'm 2-1, or Beef's 3-0, and it's like he can kind of
just pay attention. I literally just pay attention to the bottom standings.
Yeah, and in this league, it's like it doesn't really matter if the people next to you are winning or losing. It's like as long as those
make sure the bottom guys are still losing.
The bottom guys are
and
losing.
Honestly, like Cheese, like he just lost Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
So that's like, I mean, Nick Chubb was, potentially like was getting a lot of his points. Mm-hmm. So that's where it's like I don't want Nick Chubb to be hurt anymore. I don't want Cheese's team to all like continue to be bad all year, but it's like then you breathe a sigh of relief because you're like,
yeah.
If Chubb's out for a long time, like then there's one of the two guys maybe that don't make it. Mm-hmm. And now it's like there's just one spot and I have to not be that one spot.
Right. And you had to deal with that last year. That's how I view it.
I was one of the bottom two. I was like always trying to fight out of it.
I was like, you know what? And I was at that number 8 and I was like, as long as Logan keeps losing and I like
Will Fuller, man,
win a game here and there, then I'm okay.
And Calvin Ridley, Will Fuller.
I mean, it's a weird way to. You're right. I mean, and I think we voted on that, didn't we? For 16
yeah, I think if we go to 12, obviously, I wouldn't want there to be more play. Like we would have to go to 12, and
it wouldn't be 12 and 10.
Yeah, the very worst it would be 12 and 8. So what he was saying though with the COVID stuff was, like, so I have 3 Ravens on my team. Say I had 3 Ravens and 3 Falcons.
Right.
Like if they went down, all of them, or 3 teams, or something like that. I don't know, but if you have to drop a guy to field a roster, like if I have to drop Calvin Ridley because the Falcons are out, like they have safe drops in their league, I think. Like,
yeah, I mean that's where everyone's going to argue that
we have the extra roster
spot.
Of
the year, yeah, we have that extra roster spot.
Yeah, that's tough. And I mean, we didn't add a roster. There's IR spots, but that's only like Cam Newton would have been the first one you could have put on the COVID IR.
So Tennessee, like Derrick Henry couldn't go on that IR because he didn't actually get listed as.
It could only be if they get listed, and we run through ESPN, so ESPN actually has to flag it as that for them to then be able to go into that slot.
Right.
Yeah.
For that IR. So we were originally not going to do that. So the guy dropped the Steelers defense. I had an extra spot available. I picked them up for like a long-term play. And then it was really after we saw the Chiefs and Patriots stuff that we kind of were looking at it with the foresight of this is going to become a serious problem if we don't, like, once you decide on it this week, it's done for the rest of the year. And if, like I said, the worst case, 6 teams, 8 teams, 10 teams in 1 week go down, like, are you guys just going to say, fuck it, like, it's just going to be a shitty year and everyone accepts it? Or do we have that ready to go? At least now we have, where, we've done it previously. So there's not, like, people being like, well, that's unfair. You can't go back on it now.
Yeah, I mean, that might be something we have to bring up as well. But, I mean, I can't
because we're both on the same side of the argument.
Yeah, and I can't even
same side as him.
I can't even imagine. I mean, we didn't even get that deep into it. Like ours was literally just setting the lineup in case that game didn't happen.
I think that should be automatic. The whole dropping and protecting players, I could understand that. But yeah, the contingency lineup thing, I feel like you have to. This is just the beginning. It's going to get terrible.
Well, we heard the argument that it is an injury. The Titans game, well, not the Titans, the Chiefs game, you have to view it like an injury. Devontae Adams, who's on my team, was brought up a couple times, how he was questionable with the hamstring.
Let me just say, that makes zero sense to me.
Well, I had Devontae Adams, and I was like,
No, not Devontae.
no, I'm saying, like, so if I had Devontae Adams and then Tyreek Hill, like, I'd be sitting, like, there, I could not view those two as the same. Like, Devontae's playing 2 hours later with a hamstring injury. Yeah. He got hurt playing football the week before. Tyreek Hill is playing against some guy. Like the other team's quarterback got COVID. That's what I was saying.
Not even is it just the player.
Like if Tyreek got listed as having COVID, like then I'd be like, then you have your argument of he's an injured player,
right?
But his team's still going to play. He's injured, but his team's going to play,
right? And I would consider that like an injury, like Cam Newton. That would be an injury, and that I think that's how you guys do it, right? Because you just
IR spot.
You can put him on the IR. The fact that like. It's not even his team. There wasn't even a guy on his team that had COVID, and how can you even compare that to an injury? That's insane to me.
I know.
And you have to look at it from a stretch. So like in Devontae Adams' situation, if I were in that situation, so in our league we have 2 receivers and a flex. I don't know. You guys are probably different.
You do know. You know the answer to this. And I thought you were going to take a shot at Yahoo too. When I've said this like 3 times, and every single time you're like, you guys are on Yahoo.
Yahoo.
My Yahoo avatar is Ricky Williams because that was the last time when Ricky Williams was in the Wildcat offense in Miami. That was the last time I logged into Yahoo until Jimmy Malloy's Pick'em. Is that his name, Jimmy? I just call him the Malloys. Until Jimmy's Pick'em. That's the first time I logged back into
James
Yahoo
to you.
For fantasy sports. And it was still the Ricky Williams avatar.
Like stoner Ricky Williams too.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I was in college at that point, so I was
smoking the reefer.
So, what's you guys' lineup situation? Do you have a flex?
No flex, 3 receivers.
Oosh.
Non-PPR.
And no PPR. A non-PPR with 3 receivers. Holy shit.
So I actually was going to say this because I know people listening that Merle said he wants in the league. I think there should be a 1 to 2 year grace period, like. Because he's clearly against almost everything that's going on in the league right now. Like if new players welcome into the league, like should they be able to vote on these big rule changes?
I would honestly say no. I know that.
I mean, it's not like I'm
kind of
for
goes
a lot
against
of
like everything I'm about with the Orchard because I'm all about voting on everything. But
can we stop and play the clip from earlier? What did he say? This league is
a democracy.
Play that clip.
What happened on Sunday when we were trying to figure out what was going to happen with this COVID thing? Speaking of democracy.
Oh, when Jeff just made a decision.
Yeah. I'm just trolling because that was a tough spot to put him in though.
No, I know. I get it. But the fact he didn't even like think about making it a vote. Beef said he was talking to him outside of the chat and I'm not going to give up.
Wait, our league commissioners being influenced by other players in the league?
No, I'm just saying.
Play the soundbite.
He was just trying to.
He's not even a lawyer yet and he's already arguing with people?
Contingency to him and he's just like wasn't having it.
So is Alex on the belief he voted for contingency?
4. I think we had.
Is this a Republican Democrat thing?
Normally Alex is on the opposite side of like every argument, I feel like.
Well, it was me,
he's
you,
a lawyer.
and your brother.
Turles is the same way.
Mm-hmm. Who was it? What were the votes?
It was, I think Deal was actually on our team, wasn't he?
Deal was, yeah. I mean,
and he actually was arguing.
He was arguing both sides, but.
So what I was kind of going before I got, you guys had 3 receivers, 2 running backs. I was basically going to say like I would have put Devontae Adams in my flex. I could play a running back, receiver, or tight end there. If Devontae Adams were ruled out, which he was early on, I would have gone and Robert Tonyan was there. MVS might have been there. One of their with Lazard out, there's another random receiver. I would have picked them up, slotted them in, and that's where you could say you got to plan for that. Right. But if every single
the
Packer,
game wasn't happening,
every single Packer and every single Falcon was out.
But then that's where they were saying that you have to take that into account and then play somebody on Sunday instead.
Then it's just
so
gambling.
I'm not playing
it's not strategy.
If if the Packers had COVID and we didn't know if that game was happening, like I would have to start John Ross instead of Devontae Adams because there's a 50% chance this game won't happen.
Yeah, then if you believe fantasy football is all luck, then you believe what they're saying. Then you take your chances. If you believe it's strategy, then you would say that you should have a contingency because you played a strategy game, right?
Right.
I mean, I agree. I mean, and why wouldn't you want all the most?
I don't want to win because Tyreek Hill didn't play his
That's
game.
what I said. If I won against Dave and it was,
I want to win because my quarterback gets 6 points for a touchdown and Dak put up 50.
but no, if it was purely because he wasn't able to play Pat Mahomes, I wouldn't have felt good about that. Like I told you, it feels good to be 3-1 no matter what.
I would
but it's
probably
like,
actually, like, after that, like, if I would lose because somebody started Jared Goff instead of Mahomes and then Mahomes ended up playing, I would still vote that.
I would. Just
I would say
because,
he needs the Mahomes points. That's not fair.
and
Because
that's
he
why-
wouldn't have started Goff if he knew Mahomes was going to play.
Oh yeah, that's now tricky too. So if you guys did vote on that, would that it didn't change any results? If you go back and look at it, everything would have still played out the same. It's just points.
I mean, outside of that's where I was even saying in the chat, like, everyone send your thing to Jeff. I think I only said it once. Like, I would send your plan to Jeff just like you guys do, or to the whole league.
You should say
Because then there could be somebody, I was going to start, Justin Gage instead of this wide receiver 3, but I didn't know about his COVID thing. And
that's
I wouldn't
what
know.
I feel like they're not understanding or like unwilling to like try to understand. It's not like, because I'm guessing you guys do it. You give the lineup, and if they play, that's your lineup no matter what. You can't decide which one you play out of the two.
Yeah, you set your actual lineup in the back end per usual.
Right.
And then you would send, if that COVID game was canceled, here was my alternate player. And
So if Mahomes doesn't play, I was going to play Goff if I knew, Goff is the alternative to Mahomes.
So you only get Goff if the game would have been canceled due to the COVID-related reasons. And we emailed everyone in the league, but I also told them, get a Google Doc. Everyone puts in what their alternate lineup is, share it with everyone. Everyone can see the Google Doc. You can see when it was edited. So there's a timestamp.
Right.
So it's black and white.
So I do have a question. What if it happened on game day? Like Sunday at 12, somebody I guess they don't test on game days.
They do.
But what if
they do the day before, right? Do they not do it early in the morning on Sunday?
I thought that's what.
Well, they just did on Monday I think Monday was the first time that they for the Patriots game. They tested on game day for the first time.
Well, I think the Patriots flew down on game day, didn't they? Weren't they tested, then they flew down, and then
yeah.
I thought they actually did it Sunday morning too, but nonetheless, they would know about it. I would imagine everything's.
Well, I guess you have to set your alternate lineup. Like even if it was 12:30, you'd have 30 minutes to set your alternate. Yeah. And put it on the dock.
I mean, you saw there's plenty of time. I think worst case scenario, Saturday, there would be something that would come out.
Right.
And then you'd have to plan on it with less than 24 hours.
Right.
And I think they're looking too much at it as like the points you would lose out by not playing a player and them not having a game. And how I'm looking at it is I don't want to lose out on my points when they do have a game. Because it's like I don't start my Travis Kelce if I didn't. Let's see, what am I trying to say? If I did start him and they did not have a game, am I saying this? Oh no. Okay, other way around. If they did have a game, if I didn't start him, I'm losing out on those points. It's not like the Titans game where they postponed it. And you're still getting those points. You're getting points from that player, but it's later in the year.
It's like you're starting somebody who's not Travis Kelce. And then what if Kelce went
and
for
then
30 points?
Yeah, and then Kelce plays, And
right.
I mean, luckily I did start him, but if I didn't, I'd be missing out on those points,
Right.
And then the difference is if the game does get postponed, you're still getting, it's just like an earlier buy. You're getting those points, but later in the year. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just don't understand like the other side of the argument. I just don't get the other side. I mean, I again respect.
I think it's just
the
not
other opinions
long term. It's thinking of it was only the Chiefs Patriots.
But this could turn in. Yeah, like I said, I have 3 Ravens on my team.
Yeah, they're thinking about it because they said, okay, it's going to be moved to Monday night. You knew about that before the Sunday 1:00 game. So then it's like, okay, well, it's no different than a questionable guy. It's just not thinking about.
But what if it's 3 games and then it's?
Yeah, it's going to get a lot trickier than that.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess
you have to set the precedent. That's why your lawyer brother is taking that side because he wants the precedent to be there for when it gets bad.
Because it could.
Yeah.
And it probably will.
By the way, congratulations, Alex, for
Oh yeah, that was the first thing we had on here, wasn't it? It's like we're gonna start off the episode
completing the bar today.
Yep, congratulations.
Congrats, buddy.
So when does he find out?
2 months, he said.
It's a long time to wait.
It's a long time to wait. That's a lot of these arguments.
Yeah.
Like imagine how many teams are gonna get shut down from COVID in 2 months.
Which, by the way, when we got distracted and we were talking about if the new members should be allowed to vote, if your Democratic League members voted in a new member, then that new member should then have the same rights as the other people.
That's true. I was just thinking there's no way in hell you're getting in now because you said.
Yeah. Andy had a very Trump-like view on that. You know, I'm more liberal here. I'm more people and immigrants.
I was just trying to give you a chance to get in the league.
Like he said, and Matt immigrate into the league.
But no, I was trying to help your cause.
I was trying to, like, we could actually get him into the league.
If they hear this, and then they're like, he's going to have a vote.
I mean, his vote counts as one, just like everyone else's.
Yeah.
It counts as one.
Well, I think the people that were agreeing with my take would probably not have an issue. Although I did.
So you have PPR. Like, how do you feel about half PPR?
I think that's fine too. We had that for a couple of years, and we even at one point we had the 6-point QB touchdowns, and we just had learned from it. And so we were talking about, like, I have our total points up right now, the top 10 guys. You have 4 running backs and 6 quarterbacks. Yours, you said like the top 15 or top 14 are all quarterbacks.
The top 13 are quarterbacks.
So in a league of 10, every single team, theoretically, all 10 have a top 10 player plus guys on their bench. You said Trubisky's in the top 30, or
and he's 31,
and he didn't even play last week.
Didn't even play last week.
He's not even in our like top 60.
I mean, Joe Burrow is number 11. Carr is 13. Yeah, and Kamara is the first one at 14.
I guess the argument that everyone has is the quarterbacks are the same for everybody, though. So,
but that's not true. I mean, once you get to past 5. I mean, Rodgers he's 5th at 141. Kyler Murray is 6th at 126. I mean, it's not a huge drop off. It's either like a small sample size, obviously.
I just think it's very realistic. Someone could have had like an Aaron Rodgers and a Kyler Murray, and then they're going to be able to trade an Aaron Rodgers or a Kyler Murray for a Zeke, and that's just ridiculous. Zeke's a top 10 player in my league.
I offered, I guess it's long enough or far enough from when it happened to say it now, but I offered Shrada, Derrick Henry for Cooper Kupp and Lamar Jackson. And I was going to give him one more player. But, I mean, a few years ago, even in our league with the 6-point touchdowns, the thought of giving up, like, what did I pick? 3rd? Yeah. 3rd or 4th? I had 4th pick. So,
Derrick Henry.
Giving up the 4th pick overall for a quarterback pretty much. And, I mean, Cooper Kupp's been playing a lot better since I offered him that. But I would have said you were insane.
The argument, and I think it might have been Deal. Like, we were arguing with quarterback points, and the argument was, well, then everybody should get a good quarterback. Okay, that's fair, I guess. But then even looking at the stats, like, we gave Alex shit because he took Russell Wilson pretty early. I've had Dak Prescott for like 3 years in a row. I don't know why, but he's doing really well this year. So they're the top 2. Russell, will just take him. He's number 1, 167 points. Now the argument of, well, then everybody should just get a good quarterback. Lamar Jackson, who you just mentioned, is at 105. He has 60 less points than the top QB.
And what's the difference between him and like a Zeke Elliott, who would be 10th in my league, who's only, I mean, he's about 30 points behind the quarterbacks, but
Ezekiel Elliott has 65 points. Russell Wilson has 100 points more than him.
It's just a significant difference there. It's like you were saying, like a Dak Prescott game, a Pat Mahomes game, when they bomb 500 yards and a billion touchdowns single-handedly. It's still a lot of points in our league, but in your league, it's just like unbelievable.
I mean, I played against Kyler Murray, who had 30. I don't know what he did last week. Yeah. But Dak, I won by 17. Dak outscored him by 20.
I think it's just about looking at like the player distribution again, like from a strategy standpoint of at all positions, you can get people that would be in the top 50 in the point differential between the 8th quarterback and the 4th running back isn't like it's 500 points and it just it's not even close. It's in the
Right.
ballpark where there's better differentials there, and you can pick up different people at different positions and field a whole roster, and it's a bit closer. And it's not just one single quarterback having an amazing game.
I mean, that's where I feel like, there's not as much strategy in it because I have Dak, and I mean, he sketches me out first off. Like, I feel like at any point he could just turn for the worst. But like, if you have Russell Wilson, like, you're comfortable. Like, I'm getting 30 to 40 points a week from this guy. Like, so you don't have to actually think or make as many moves because I'm getting 40 points from my QB every week.
So in ours, the number one player right now is Alvin Kamara. And he has
Who's the first QB?
He has 5 more points than Russell Wilson, who's top. Russell Wilson and Dak are separated by 0.7.
Okay.
Now, how
They're
did
only
it,
5 points behind Alvin.
So that would
Kamara.
be yardage, I guess. Dak, yeah, he definitely has more yardage than Wilson. But then the touchdown differential, that's only 4 points for a TD. Okay. So Kamara's the top player.
He's number one.
Who's after Dak?
5 more points. Josh Allen is 2 points down. Mahomes is then at 108. Rodgers 104. Kyler 103. Aaron Jones is at 101.
So see, that's where it's like it is weird though, because it is still outside of Kamara. Then you do have a bunch of QBs, but then if you do get someone like
It's
that,
always going to happen. That's like when
Just
you're
kind
doing
of
the
balancing
QBs.
it out.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When you give them even more power than
Right.
your entire list, your top 13. Or
so if you have Tannehill and Kamara, that could be better than Dak and some other running back.
yeah, Kamara. If you have a team with Kamara going against a team with Dak, it could be an explosive both
And
sides.
you actually have
but
to
they could both equal each other out.
win in a different way.
It's not like the Dak team will just completely, with that huge game last week, will just easily cruise to a victory. Which I'm assuming
a
happened,
huge game
right?
from. I mean, I didn't cruise, but
How much did he put up for you?
50,
And how much total did you get?
140, 141. I'm trying like so.
Yeah,
I mean,
your
so that would be
team
like
kinda
a.
went
So
off.
that's the only argument I have is like a big game from Kamara. Like if you're one of my other players, like has a huge game, like why should his huge game be diminished by if somebody else's quarterback has a huge game?
right,
like if
which is more likely.
Right. Like, yeah, a quarterback this anytime now, like they're probably going to throw for 3 or 4 TDs unless you're Baker and you throw 5 times a game.
Mm-hmm.
But like I think somebody like that has Kamara should be rewarded for that. Like if he's putting up insane numbers, but he's still diminished by Josh Allen or
That on top of with a Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, who are also getting like rushing touchdowns. Like they have potential, like last year that we saw with Lamar Jackson, to get like ridiculous games.
right. It's just
Where he like him and Pat Mahomes literally were single-handedly winning games last year.
right. Yeah, I mean, if Dak continues to roll, if Russell Wilson continues to roll, Mahomes is playing worse than them somehow. He's going to end up being the best in the league unless Russell keeps it up. But it's like then if you're one of those people that have one of those 3 guys, it's like I feel pretty comfortable outside of injuries.
Yeah, so it's just equaling it down. Like in your situation, Dak would have represented 37% of your total scoring. In my league, he would have been like 32%. So just a couple percentage points, but that kind of balances a bit more. Is kind of
Right.
what I'm saying. It's just more balanced, giving the receivers and the running backs who receive the ball points. You're bringing them up a bit more in what they can score, and you're kind of bringing those quarterbacks down who will still, even in our league, you're going to have in total points. Quarterbacks are going to be up there. But now there's at least it's
A little bit of a
closer,
balance.
yeah, than just complete. We don't give running backs and receivers that point, so now they go even further down, and we propel the quarterbacks even higher. Like you guys are just like either way, even if you don't do a point PPR, you should drop the quarterback down to 4 then, so it's closer.
That's where I was thinking if we want to keep it 6, give some kind of PPR just to
Yeah.
balance it a little bit.
Yeah, I think the arguments kind of go either way. Keep it at 6, give it PPR. Don't do PPR, drop it to 4. Like, just still brings your quarterbacks a little bit more balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we really dropped the ball on not having more open of a discussion besides a group chat before we voted this year. I mean,
Yeah. I'm still on board with the flex idea. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, especially being in Buddy Boy. Like, that's our auction league we have, which you should try auction leagues. They're pretty cool. The drafts are.
It's a different strategy. It's taken me a while to get used to.
It's weird. Like this year, I blew my load. I was just like, I got Kamara. I don't even remember who I got. Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
I spent a shit ton of money on the first 3 guys I had.
You're having a good year. You're in first place right now. I just beat you last week, but you're in first place.
I've watched some like mock drafts of that, and it looks it looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's different. Like, I mean, we could even try a side one or something.
The dynasty
sometime.
leagues are cool too. I've been wanting to do that.
He's
in
in
one of those.
I'm in one, and I think this is my second year, and I'm already in a rebuild. But it's, I mean,
the 2000
I
Browns.
have Lamar Jackson and Saquon, and I was just looking at my team, and a lot of older players, like Julio Jones, that I actually just traded, but I had a couple losses right off the bat, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go for a rebuild next year. I got CeeDee Lamb in my draft this year, and the all rookies draft is like, it's actually really cool.
Really?
I like it a lot.
I mean, so you can trade like Julio Jones for a draft pick, which you get CeeDee Lamb or something like.
So I traded Julio Jones and Devonta Freeman for first round this year, a second round next year, and J.K. Dobbins.
Interesting.
So what my thought is, it's like, how many years does Julio have left? And who knows?
So you said a first round this year?
So first round, I'm sorry.
Like
first
for the rookies,
round
next year's rookies?
I'm sorry. First round next year for 2021.
Okay.
Then 2022, I have a second round pick.
Now, do you guys only draft
Dobbins.
rookies, or do they do like where you throw back certain people into?
So we're only rookies. And
I would throw back people.
well,
I feel like
our benches are super deep in this league. Like
yeah.
the waiver, it's also waiver, which I should probably suggest maybe not doing that, especially. But we have three IR spots, 2 tax. It's called a taxi squad, where you can just keep 2 rookies. They
like
have
a
to
practice squad.
be. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So they have to be rookies though. You can only put rookies in there.
Got it.
And then
So it'd be like your sleeper rookies, like a 5th round guy that like maybe next
But
year
like
will
a
do something.
Zach
Yeah,
Moss
yeah.
has been out. You
Right,
can
right.
just keep him on there.
So I have all of those filled up, and then we have 10 bench spots. So like, yeah, it's crazy. Like there's really no one on waivers, but I mean there will be once in a while,
Right.
and then you see a rookie that pops off, who was it? Jefferson, I guess was
Jefferson.
the biggest
He had a
pickup.
decent week again this last week
Yeah.
too, in PPR anyways.
He looks like he's gonna be really good.
Not in non
Like, it's
PPR.
like 13 something.
But yeah, anyway, I really like the
I wanted to
dynasty.
kind of do one that was like more like a Madden
Mm.
franchise, like when you fantasy draft and then like players have certain like cap, like you almost have like a salary cap, and they only have like certain years you can.
That'd be
like,
cool.
Like
Yeah.
based on where you draft them, they have like certain years that you can have them like under contract, and people who are like coming out, you can either like
Oh, like a
re-sign
first
or
round
they-
pick, you have them for 4 years type stuff.
Yeah, like later it'd be like you only get 1 year or 2 years, but then like
Yeah.
you could either re-sign or you could let them go back into the draft pool the next year. So then not only are you doing the rookie draft, but then you're also able to redraft certain guys,
Yeah.
or you could, and then you could like sign a guy like overpay.
Dude, how awesome would that be though? It's like to build like like they call it a dynasty league, but just like always be winning the championships year after year. Like rebuild your team back to a
It'd be cool.
championship.
I threw that idea. I said with like Alex, like some of like the serious people that like, I mean, because it's kind of like a year-round thing then, because then you're getting ready for the rookie draft.
Yeah.
After they get actually drafted, and then you have the all player draft normally, but then like all that, maybe even do like a free agent period or something. But just like I don't know, something.
So we should start that. I mean, will we draft after the rookies get drafted this coming year? Do we just do a massive draft then?
Yeah, I guess you'd have to start somewhere.
Or would you
like,
do?
You'd have to do a regular.
Is that what you would do? Is that how you would do it?
Well, last year. Are you asking for?
I'm just saying, like, if we were to create a league, like, would you want to wait until? Would you? The rookie draft, like, or we just have our normal league dynasty draft, like the inaugural draft would be right after the rookies get picked,
Right, just like a
and
normal,
then just a normal draft.
a normal draft.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you'd get going, and then
And that should be the Champions League. Like if
Then the
well,
following, then the following,
wouldn't be allowed.
the following year would be whatever draft, however
Right.
you want to set it up, whether
Right.
it just be rookies or.
and then you just
or you have to cut 3 players or something before the draft.
if you like lost a league member, then it would just be like they step in to take over that team
Yeah.
that's there. But then obviously they can go into rebuild mode or whatever.
Sell the team.
Yeah. I feel like with a league like that, though, you'd almost have to have more than 12. Like, you'd have to have, like a 16-person league or something. Like, because then, like, people that are rebuilding, it's not like you get 4 teams rebuilding and then the top teams are just easily able to win and it's boring. Where, like, you'll always have that.
Yeah, because how do you come out of that rebuild? How are you going to come out of the rebuild? With your draft picks, rookies?
Yeah. I mean,
well, this is the year to do it. I mean, you could win this year with the rookies already.
Well, that's the thing. I have the 2 players from Jacksonville as well, Robinson and Chenault.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm close in all these games still. And, like, some of the games I'm like, shit. I shouldn't have started him. CD Lamb's looking good. And, like I said, I have...
He was looking real good when Sendejo was covering him.
But I have a base. So my base being 2 young stars already in Lamar
Barkley.
Jackson and Saquon Barkley. So it's not like I'm just only doing
You don't have
rookies.
injury concerns for Lamar?
No, not at all.
Okay.
100% confident.
I mean, if you think about it, though, like this year, you could put together, if you did all rookies, like you had QB Herbert's been doing pretty good. If you had Antonio Gibson, Robinson at running back, they've all been pretty good. You could have like a Zach Moss on your bench who could still come out and do something. Receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk. I'm probably even forgetting a bunch of other dudes who are tops that are rookie receivers. Tight ends, I think, is Schultz for the Cowboys a rookie?
I don't know.
I'm not 100% on him, but then, I mean, obviously you'd have defense and kicker from there, but that would be a good team.
I think if you had, I think we'd have to do it where you'd have to cut somebody. Like, what if you had Tom Brady this year, but then you don't really want, like, would you want to, how would you do that? Try to trade him or just cut him and then let somebody else pick him up?
See, what, like your older players?
Yeah, like if I had Tom Brady and it was like at the end of the year, I don't really want him anymore because I want to draft Trevor Lawrence.
So we, like I said, we have a really deep bench. So every single team has 3 quarterbacks. So it's like, it's hard to, you can't find a quarterback.
Right. So that's where we'd probably have a smaller bench size.
But I mean, there's a guy that, I forgot what the situation was, but he forgot to start a quarterback or something, or his quarterback was on bye and forgot to start somebody. So I threw an Aaron Rodgers at him for a, like 2nd round pick next year, or just like, so that's how you kind of just, I'm just waiting for people, like their players, to go down and be like, hey, look what I have. I have a Mike Evans.
And then you're like, here's a 2nd round pick. Or you could actually rebuild with your draft picks then.
Well, that's
like,
that's
not
the
actually
goal.
drafting the players, but like I have a shit ton of draft picks. I'll give you 2 first rounders for
exactly. And that's the thought. And a ton of people traded in the draft this year. Like during the draft, how we did our draft is everyone had 6 hours to make their pick, which sounds kind of crazy.
6 hours.
Yeah, but it's like, it was kind of nice because there was only 3 or 4 rounds because it's only rookies. And it's like everyone's doing their own thing anyway. So you get a notification on, like, not everyone's taking 6 hours, but if you're at work when it's your turn to pick, you can wait till you're done and like go do something.
You better wait till you're done.
Yeah, that works. But, I mean, I'd probably do it like if you do like maybe like, so you'd get rid of the normal draft, or if you did have it for the people who went back in, you could do like the rookie draft like the week before the normal draft or something.
Right.
Just hit it all at once, and that way it's closer to the season starting anyhow.
All right, so we're accepting applications for the Dynasty League.
We'd have to figure out all the rules and everything, but that would just be an interesting.
I think it's worth trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have Turles.
Turles is in. I mean, has he won a championship?
Yes. So have we gotten anywhere, by the way? So to your apple, or do you guys just say the orchard? Do you say apple orchard? I don't want to be
the orchard.
Okay, I don't.
Don't call us the apple. It's the apple's
That's the trophy.
Haven't tasted championship yet, but
so you guys are on the side of we need a contingency lineup, and you guys are waiting for another vote to come in to decide what your league does.
And you're going to hear all about it tomorrow when it doesn't get approved.
Yeah.
And Andy and I both call off.
I'm excited.
No, we'll be here. We'll just be complaining about it.
Yeah, not here.
But yeah, and
our coworkers are gonna have to hear us bitch about fantasy football all day again.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, I know I said it was going to be a short mini pod, but this is almost an hour in. But any closing comments, Earls?
Need contingency. I would also plan on the whole COVID protection of drop players if we get into a situation where we have, as I say, I keep seeing a situation where there's going to be 6 teams in 1 week, and it's just going to suck.
He knows something we don't.
Logan?
I guess if we go 12 people, I'll vouch for Earls to be in the league. I know Grizzler also mentioned that he wanted in. We'll discuss. We'll get him on a mini pod next week or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing another podcast this week. So if anyone wants to come on, I know Ritter, you were talking about wanting to come in. If anyone wants to call in, let me know. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this little hour. Any of you that are against the contingency, you were wrong, but that's all right. So yeah, that's it for this podcast. Thanks for tuning in.